Yo, what is going on guys? Jack here and welcome to this episode 33 of our Tracksuit to the Top series with Lewis FC in the Sky Bet League 2. Hopefully you guys are good. Today I've got for you guys a double header live com. It's been a little while since the last episode, so to mark the occasion I've got two of our largest games of real significance in a little while. The games today are going to be against Plymouth and Accrington. The first one's actually against Accrington. 3 days later we're going to be taking on the mighty Plymouth. But before all that, there's a fair few games to review because it has been a little over 2 months since the last episode, which was against Notts County. So, since the last episode, as you can see, we've played a decent chunk of games. We've actually played 11 games in the league. A lot of these games are against smaller teams. The big one was against Cambridge, but we'll start off with it at the top, I guess. So we did beat Barnet 4-1. Good to see Kenji Gore get a hat-trick. Good player, 23. He was loving it. He's really hit some fine form, and that's a large part behind this fantastic run we've gone on. In the next game, we beat Wickham 2-1. Second time we've beaten them by this margin. Liam Walsh this time getting on the Man of the Match award and getting his hands on the champagne. He got a winning goal in the 91st minute, which secured us a win. A fantastic performance by him, and really good to win a game in such kind of circumstances, I guess. Following on from this, another really good win. This time, this one was against Cambridge. Already talked about this one as being the one that was perhaps of largest significance because at the time Cambridge were third in the league. But as you can see, Alex Samuel grabbing 2 goals, Cameron Stewart grabbing 1. We were always kind of in control of this game, but good to win it nevertheless. Alex Samuel with a really good performance and a fantastic result. Following on from this, we got 2 wins. The first was against Port Vale, which was a very big win. Alex Samuel getting the all-important goal in the 80th minute. He's been superb for us again over this period and hit some fine form and kind of continued and maintained his level of performance that he's had throughout the entire of this season. On the back of that, another 3-1 win. Our second one in this kind of, I guess, set of results. This time, Samuel getting on the score sheet once, but also performances by the likes of Lewis Thompson and again Kenji Gore. You can see here, looking at Lewis Thompson, the centre mid, he's playing very well at the moment. 34 appearances, 5 goals, 5 assists. However, eagle-eyed viewers may notice that when I clicked on him, he was unhappy. Why is he unhappy? Well, I don't think you guys are going to be happy, some of you, because I've sold a bit of a legend of this save, but I feel like we've done it for the right reasons, and that is that we have sold Ben Bacon. I sold him in January. He was a late transfer, and he's left the club for £2.2 million to Reading, who of course already picked up one of our players in Joe Robinson earlier on in the year. So I don't know if Joe played some kind of role in recommending him, but they came in. £2.2 million was a pretty good offer that I couldn't really refuse, so I ended up biting their hand off and taking it. There were a few other departures during the January window. Perhaps the most noticeable one being Petrasso, who's actually gone to Swindon in League 1. He was complaining about lack of first team football here. I tried to sell him. He was kind of kicking up a fuss, creating a bit of a nuisance. So in the end, I gave in, sold him and offered him out on a free. Swindon in the league above us have picked him up, but he is yet to play for them. So I hope he's happy now. Anyway, the first defeat in our fantastic run of results came against Luton. This was an unfortunate game, but they probably deserved their win, and they were probably the better team, if I'm honest. They missed a penalty early on, and from that moment onwards, I kind of felt like it was probably our day. However, a goal in the 69th minute sealed our fate, and then they grabbed a 3-2 win as we lost for the first time in a very long time on the road. You can see our previous defeat had come on the 12th of... the 2nd of the 12th, so really a long time ago. So we lost what had been an incredible away kind of run of form, but unfortunately that didn't stop us as we bounced back immediately with a 4-1 win against Mansfield Town. Pretty standard goal scorers, although Isaac Hayden did also chip in with a goal this game. Isaac Hayden's been a really good player for us this year. He's played more than he did last year, kind of in a midfield role, and occasionally dropped in at centre back, and he's been... I don't know, he's been a little bit more, instrumental, I guess, in our success. As you can see, last year he didn't really perform, whereas this year he's been a lot more solid, and the average rating kind of highlights how much better he has been this year, playing a similar role to last year, but doing it better, I guess. Anyway, the next game was against Bristol Rovers, and as you can see here, Kenji Gore, I still don't know how to say his name because I'm recording these way in advance, but he scored in the 93rd minute to get us a late win, to get us fantastic 3 points. We then won by a 1-goal margin for the second game in a row, Liam Walsh grabbing the Man of the Match award, Alex Samuel with the all-important goal just before half-time. We then lost to Crawley 4-1. I don't know what happened here. They were just clinical, they took the chances that came our way and we didn't. So that was a bit of an embarrassment to lose like that. However, we did bounce back with a win last time out against Morecambe, as you can see here. Alex Samuel getting the important goal, and that was his 32nd league goal of the year in his 34th appearance. Incredible record right there. So anyway, as I mentioned, Ben Bacon did depart. It was a bit of a sad miss because he was one of the best centre-attacking mids at the club. However, he just wasn't playing that much first-team football. We had plenty of other central midfielders to play ahead of him. A few players have kicked up a bit of a fuss, as I mentioned, and announced their displeasure at the fact we've let go of him. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like it was something that didn't necessarily need to be done, but when the money came in, it became almost impossible to say no, just because of I guess how good the offer was. The money that's come into the club, I've not reinvested it yet, but it sees our bank balance sit really healthily at £3.5 million, which is absolutely fantastic. And we do have a transfer budget of £2.5 million remaining. Obviously, not going to be spending too much of that now because it's now March. In the meantime, we did also have youth intake, nothing special. The ones in green are players in our intake. There was very few players here. Mitch Porter, perhaps the highlight, if you could even call it that, of the players who came in. But yeah, another disappointing intake. Still yet to have an incredible player come through our own ranks. And because of, I guess, the situation we're in, I haven't done too much looking into other regens. But anyway, today, as I mentioned, we've got a double header live com, so let's get straight into that. Because, as I mentioned, 2 games to do. The first one here against Accrington away. Squad here is pretty much at full strength. There's no real players injured, and because of players like Petrasso and a few other players who were complaining about lack of first-team football being let go, you'll notice that our squad is significantly smaller now. We did make 1 or 2 other transfers just to show you guys. We brought in Eric Yubu, who was a player who I actually showed last episode. He was the player in the Ivory Coast squad when I was showing our other Ivory Coast signing, and I was like, I might as well take a punt on him. But he looks like a pretty good player at 19. No work permit, but he's coming in on a free. The only other player was Josh Smith, who's just a backup goalkeeper, because in the end, our other backup goalkeeper, Brad Collins, was just complaining about lack of first-team football, and so I sold him to Bristol City, who have now loaned him out immediately. Very bizarre. Not entirely sure what happened there, but you know, fair enough. If he wanted to leave for first-team football to be loaned back to a divisional rival near the bottom, I can't fault him. But anyway, let's get into today's game. We can actually secure a playoff spot. I should probably show you the league table, so let me just pause this real quick. And if we go to the league table, because the league table's gone a little bit odd, and I say odd just because teams behind us are just slipping up. So actually, there's 10 games left of the season now. This is the 10th game of the 10 left. And you can see, looking at the league table, there's a cluster of teams on 59 points. We're sat at the top on 79. We've really created a gap for ourselves with our good run of form. You'd have to say that 25 games won, 4 games drawn, and 7 games lost isn't actually that incredible a record. It just seems like a lot of these teams have just drawn so many games. I mean, pretty much every team in the playoff spot, well, they've all drawn 11, lost 9, won 16. That is a very underwhelming record. Like, I'm surprised that no one else has kind of stuck their head away from the pack like we have. Perhaps you could argue Notts County and Plymouth have, just because they are 6 points clear of the teams behind. Obviously, the first game today is against Accrington, who are one of the leading teams in this kind of really tight, packed group in the playoffs. But realistically, if results were to go our way, we might even be able to secure automatic promotion, I think, in the next 3 games or so. Like, I think we are pretty much promoted. Obviously, these games are still going to be of significance because we want to win the league. So we'll see how we get on. Anyway, not going to be easy. Accrington, as I mentioned, they are 4th in the league. You know, they've still got pretty much everything to play for, so they're certainly not going to make it easy for us. But we've been on some fine form. As I mentioned, there have been a few defeats. The one against Crawley was a bit of a shock to the system, if I'm honest, the 4-1. But it doesn't even matter. Cameron Stewart, with his 13th goal of the season, is going to score in the 6th minute to give us an early 1-0 lead. Good goal by him. Very, very impressive. Load up the highlight game. Let's show it again in 3D. That was a chance I actually thought he had a high chance of missing, just because you see a lot of chances one-on-ones from this angle and they just don't bury them. But he's just smashed that into the roof of the net. A very confident finish. And to be honest, he's had a very good season and has the right to be very confident, Cameron Stewart. He was released by Ipswich in the summer. We obviously picked him up just before the transfer window closed, really. Like, he didn't get picked up by a club immediately. He's coming in on some fairly generous wages in terms of he's not asked for that much. We have just conceded, though, to make it 1-1. But he's definitely been one of the standout performers this year. There's been some players really make the difference. Ken Jiao on the left as well has really kind of turned into a really solid player for us, particularly in the last kind of 10 games. This like little run of form. I think he may have even overtaken Alex Samuel for assists, which really gives you an idea of how much he's been doing. He has been one of our real kind of top performers. And Stewart's through here. Go on, my son. Go. What a goal that is. That's what I'm looking for. At the start of the season, I was very worried that it would all be on Stewart to basically make things happen, particularly when I think about 12 games in, he had 10 goals, and the next highest scorer behind Samuel had like 2. But these two guys on either wing, you can see they're good link-up play between them, but they've really kind of made a difference together. They've really started to make names for themselves, and it's no longer about the fact that they play off Samuel, and very much they are a trio in the final third, which is very pleasing to be able to say. Anyway, got a set piece here. Walsh, Stewart hits it at the near post, and it is saved. That's kind of what I expected from the first chance that he missed, but we've still got another chance here, maybe. No, can't even beat the first man on the corner, and Accrington live to fight another day. Looking at the stats, they've had more of the ball, but they've only had that one shot on target which they did score from, whereas we've created a hell of a lot of opportunities for ourselves, 2 clear-cut chances. However, we've not made it make a massive difference just yet. But we're on the attack here. Walsh, Gore, and Stewart bangs in another. Take a bow, my son. Take a bow. Cameron Stewart, a fine, fine goal for him to make it 3-1. He is absolutely loving it right now. Walsh across, and then it's Gore just playing the ball across. And again, it's nice to see those two players linking up, because they weren't doing that for the first half of the season. And that's really been one of the big differences, I think, between us before this run of form and after. Like, defensively, as you can see, we're still terrible. We've not kept that many clean sheets. In fact, I don't think we kept a single clean sheet during our kind of last 10 games, which is really disappointing when you think about it. Just the big difference has been we've been scoring 3 or 4 a game quite comfortably. We have done it again here, but defensively a little bit disappointing perhaps to concede 2. But Accrington shouldn't be kind of underestimated, I guess. They are a top team in this division, a very good squad. Obviously, the fact they're 4th kind of suggests that, but can we make something happen here? Stewart, that's a hit and a half by whoever that was. Thompson, there's options in the middle. Samuel's there. Stewart spilled. Samuel buries it. That is poor goalkeeping. I'm not sure what the keeper's done, but Alex Samuel does not care. That is his 36th goal of the season, and what a goal that was. It was a terrible goal. It's kind of squirmed under the keeper. It reminds me of, was it Oliver Kahn from a free kick who did something like that, where it kind of went under his armpit years ago? I know that's really throwing it back, just randomly mentioning Oliver Kahn, but it was Kahn-esque. And it makes it 4-2, and now we have a little bit of breathing room. If we could tighten up defensively now, that would be fantastic. I'm going to make a few little tactical changes. I don't want to disrupt our flow too much in the final third, because everyone's playing really, really well. But we'll bring on Jake Hesketh, just get on some fresh legs in the midfield. Walsh has had his issues keeping fully fit during games. Accrington score, though, and that's poor defending from a set piece again. They've only had 3 shots on target, Accrington. They've scored 3. I don't know if that should be blamed on Mullin. I mean, yeah, I'm going to blame Mullin. I'm going to blame Mullin. To be honest, Mullin in goal has improved a lot this year, the young goalkeeper, because he's one of the players who's been here since the Ben Bacon and Matthew Lewis kind of season. You know, the very first kind of summer he came in as a player, and he's obviously made a name for himself in the first team. He sometimes has a few suspect performances, but he's actually improved so much over the last year. It's incredible, and he really is a League 2 quality player. It's just he has a few really off games, such as the one today. But let's see how he gets on. Obviously, he's not the best at distributing the ball, which is certainly a concern of mine. As you can see by the fact he kicks it straight to them there. Fortunately, the Accrington striker there isn't even as accurate as Craig Mullen is when it comes to placing free kicks, and he goes miles wide. But anyway, we've got not long left to this game. I'm just going to be on Shabola, I think, for Thompson. Again, just some fresh... In fact, no, actually. I'm going to drop Thompson into defensive mid and then take off Isaac Hayden. Just get some fresh legs in the midfield. It's always good to keep your centre mid sharp. Borthwick Jackson's struggling a little bit at centre-back, but we're just going to have to persist with him. He has let down a little bit by his stamina. Some games he just seems to lose his legs. With not long left, but fortunately that shouldn't play too big of a role here. Have I just jinxed that? Have I just jinxed that? Because if they now score to equalise this late on, I may cry, and it will be the curse of the commentator, and I will just hang my head in shame. Just deal with it. Put me out my misery. Great block. I don't know who that was with the block. I think it might have been Mueba, but it's hard to tell. It all happened so quick, and Mullen picks it up. Right, boys, kill the clock now. 2 minutes left to see out this result. 4-3, looking like a fantastic away win to kick off this episode in what is one of the bigger games of the year, as this really does extend our gap. Although, as I mentioned, there are 3 teams also on the same amount of points as Accrington, so we're not extending it by a vast amount. But you can see here, looking at it, actually in the playoff spot, so 2 of the teams drew and the other team on 59 lost, I think, or maybe 2 of them lost. Either way, the gap has not been closed there. We've actually extended it by another 2 points with a slip up there. So it leaves us with 9 games left, so 27 points available. 22 points clear from the team in 4th. Of course, in League 2, 2 teams get automatic promotion spots, so things are looking very, very rosy indeed. Anyway, just in terms of what's going on behind the scenes, because obviously I'm going to just skip forward to the Plymouth game. I've already been looking at some potential players whose contracts run out at the end of the year, particularly players in England who I think could be very, very valuable additions. They're all current England Liverpool players, is what I should be saying. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I have quite a good knowledge of the players that Liverpool have. One of the players here, Jordan Rosita, is a fantastic player, and he'd be a really good player to get in. It's just because he's such a good centre mid. His contract runs out at the end of the year. He's on, under £1,000 a week, so he's probably possible to get signed, assuming Liverpool don't renew his contract. There's a few other players. Jerome Sinclair's another one for people who may be familiar with Liverpool's squad. Jerome Sinclair's contract runs out at the end of the year. Again, he's a player on under £1,000 a week. He'd be a fantastic striker in League 1 if we could get him, assuming we're getting promoted, because right now it would take a miracle for us to not. And then there's another player in Sheyi Ojo, who's another player who might be of use to us. But anyway, let's go straight forward now to the Plymouth game. And yeah, we'll see how we get on. Obviously, they're 3rd in the league, so this is still a fairly big game. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. We're doing very well. It's been a very good year. I'm talking as if we've already kind of at a stage where mission is accomplished. But realistically, after this game, there's 8 games left. We're over 20 points clear at the top of the table as things stand. I can't see the teams catching us. A win here against Plymouth would be great. We are still 12 points clear of Notts County as well, with superior goal difference, so it's basically 13 points. So things would have to go very wrong at this point for us not to, at least get promoted. But anyway, looking at the squad, I think we'll pretty much go with this squad. I kind of like what my assistants picked here. No complaints whatsoever from me, so I think we'll go with it. Good job, assistant. I do like it in FM when you're getting an assistant who actually knows what you want and plays to your kind of strengths. Anyway, looking at this, Plymouth, they've got Ebanks Blake up front. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue because he's quite a good player. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. Looking at it, it's 0-0. Obviously, can we get off to a fly? No, we can't. The highlight of false hope kicks in at the start. and just denies us. But anyway, if we could get a win here, that'd be fantastic. Looking at it, we've really got off to a flyer. Obviously, we're back at the frying pan. The dripping pan now, the frying pan. Jack, wake up. We're back at the dripping pan now, our stadium, which is really good because it's had its seat conversion to 4,000 seats. Mullen, what are you doing in goal, son? From their first shot on target, a free kick outside the area in the 23rd minute. Plymouth score. Plymouth Argyle. I don't know if I can blame Mullen here. I feel like 3D's going to make me moan more. Oh dear. Oh dear, yeah. I think my mum could have caught that one. Anyway, let's switch back on now, boys. You know, we've had the better of the play early on. Let's not let that goal kind of hold us back. Let's show some character here. Looking at it, they're really packing the midfield area. I kind of saw that in the preview because they were playing a formation with 2 centre attacking mids, 2 centre mids, 1 up front. So we might be able to stretch them quite wide here, and I might make that tactical change in just a second because I think there's going to be a lot of space out wide for us to exploit. But anyway, Stewart going down the line here. Ball falls to Gore. Is that tipped over by the keeper? It was. That was an impressive save. So anyway, going to switch back to obviously exploit the flanks. Going to actually tell the players to play wider as well. I really want to stretch their midfield, perhaps create some additional channels in the centre area for our centre mids to exploit. But yeah, we'll see how we get on here. Looking at it, half time at the dripping pan, we're down. Let's tell the players I expect a much better showing because they are loving that. But no, looking at the stats, we've been the better team. We've just not created anything, which is really disappointing. We've obviously missed the one clear-cut chance that came our way, conceded from a free kick. And that's just a little bit kind of, what's that, underwhelming? Disappointing? I'm going to tell the players to play narrower, but I want us to look for the overlap more. So the idea with that is that the wide attacking midfielders will tuck in. Obviously, they're playing as inside forwards anyway, so they tuck in anyway, but they'll play slightly narrower. Then watching our fullbacks overlap is going to give us options out wide and hopefully allow us to create some opportunities, perhaps get some balls into the box from deep. I'm also going to take off higher tempo just because playing a higher tempo game, playing a little bit more perhaps direct and faster, doesn't allow the fullbacks to reach the advanced positions I'm looking for them to play in. But looking at it with 10 minutes left, it's still 1-0. So we're going to have to start chasing the game, but that isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Certainly some changes that we can make. So what we're going to do is we're going to move Hesketh to centre attacking mid and play him as a playmaker set to support. Walsh is going to play centre mid support. Thompson, ball winning midfielder, defend. We're going to make some changes on off the bench, I think, too. We're going to take off Thompson because he is booked and I don't really want to risk him. He's not had the best game of his career either. Alex Samuel in the final third hasn't been great, but he hasn't had much service, so we're going to persevere with him. Kenji Gore out on the left has played pretty poor, so we're going to bring on Brandon Barker for an injection of pace. And I think we're going to stick with this team for now. Maybe I should bring on Chibola for Walsh. Let's do that too. Let's go for the triple change. Why not? If we get an injury now, then it's the curse of the fact we used 3 subs. But if we can get a win, or just get a point even at this point, that would be fantastic. We are chasing a game. Going to throw a few more men forward, play a little bit more, I guess, what's the word, committed and maybe chase them in. But looking at it, it's not really made a difference. Unfortunately for us, we've just not created anything today. Plymouth holding very firm, obviously playing with a hell of a lot of centre midfielders. Not making it easy for us. We might have a late chance here though. Stewart, options in the box. Siddle collects it and he's probably just going to hold on to it for as long as he can and see this result out. So it's looking like Plymouth are going to win thanks to that free kick. Perhaps a little bit of a defensive nightmare by Mullen in goal for the second game in a row. But this time it's cost us, which is disappointing because we were the better team there. I'm going to just tell it's kind of funny how I said that was disappointing and then the team talk suggestion was tell them it's disappointing. So looking at the league table, it's really disappointing. Looking at the stats, actually, you can see that we deserve to probably get something more from the game, but we lose our lead over Notts County just behind us. You can see there they have beaten Crawley, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode. Just a double header, 2 big games. Fortunately, the real important one went in our favour and allows us to extend our gap over the teams in 4th. Automatic promotion looking pretty much done and dusted now, but yeah, good result nevertheless. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button. Other than that, I'll probably join you guys towards the end of the season where we will be wrapping up this year and hopefully holding on to some silverware as we win the title.